in Indonesia. Also,
Yeah.
what can we expect from the new administration of Mr. Jokowi? And also, what does marketing 4.0 means when you are in Indonesia?
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So, I will talk a little bit about Indonesia. Some factors that you might not know because so many misunderstandings about Indonesia. Secondly, I will talk about the new Indonesia because we just elected the new president named Jokowi is equal to Obama of Indonesia. And number three, I will talk about wow marketing, my next book with Professor Philip Kotler. I've been writing 5 books in the last 16 years with him. Okay, this is my picture with Professor Kotler in Myanmar when we finalized the concept of wow marketing. And I starting with the myth and reality. But before I start with the myth and reality, I just want to clarify. Not so many people understand that Indonesia is number 4 in terms of population. China is number 1, 1.4 billion. India is number 2, 1.1 billion. US is number 3, 300 million. Indonesia is number 4, 240 million population. But if you are talking about democratic country, Indonesia is number 3. India, US, and Indonesia. Indonesia is really, really democratic, especially with the transformation happening in the last 16 years from 1998 to 2014. President is elected directly by the people, not by the member of the parliament. Governors are elected directly by the people, and we have more than 500 mayors of cities also directly elected by the people. And I can guarantee you, no worry to invest and doing business in Indonesia. I can guarantee you, there will be no coup d'etat in Indonesia. Military in Indonesia follow the law and scared to the people power. And this is very important. Indonesia is the only ASEAN country. ASEAN means Association of Southeast Asian Nations, 10 countries, in the G20. G20, 20 biggest economies in the world. There are 5 countries of Asia in the G20. Japan, China, Korea, Indonesia, and India. So this session is very important because Professor said talking about emerging countries, and now you need to learn the new textbook, how to do marketing not only in the advanced countries, just like Professor Kotler said in the morning. Advanced countries are already mature and growth is 0%, 1%, and 2%, but we need to understand the emerging market. And there is no solid textbook until now, marketing in the emerging countries. And Milton talking about China, and Kumar is talking about India, now Indonesia. You used to be familiar with the triumph of advanced country, right? Several decades, maybe 1 decade or 2 decades ago, Europe, US, and Japan, the triumph. Now I think the new triumph of emerging countries in Asia is China, India, and Indonesia. So this is interesting. So before I left Jakarta to fly to Tokyo, the day before yesterday, I was speaking to 500 Japanese executives in Jakarta, organized by Nikkei publication company. Nikkei is very famous in Japan, and I was the keynote speaker speaking about the new Indonesia after the ambassador of Japan in Indonesia. So Indonesia is really, really wow to Japanese. And I know now Indonesia is a top investment destination of Japan last year. Used to be Indonesia, and then Indonesia going down because of China. Now Indonesia is replacing China again to be the top destination of the investment. And yesterday I was distributing this white paper prepared by Marcus Insight, the research division of my company. Now I continue with the myth. So many people thinking that Indonesia is some random country, but in reality, Indonesia actually is big producer and market. Big producer and market at the same time. Biggest sustainable palm oil producer, second biggest tea producer, and Robusta coffee and cocoa producer, gas watches, the biggest gas watches, and third biggest motorcycle market. But especially for Japanese maker, Indonesia is number one. If you are talking about all brands, China number one in motorcycle, India is number two, Indonesia number three. But if you are talking about Japanese maker, the biggest factory for Honda motorcycle and Yamaha motorcycle in the world is in Indonesia. Indonesia only Bali. Yes, Bali is famous. That's why our Museum of Marketing 3.0, this is my Facebook with Professor Kotler. This is the Japanese version, translated into 23 languages. This is best-selling in Japan. Professor Kotler and family officiated the Museum Marketing 3.0 in Bali. But Indonesia is not only Bali. Actually, we have so many beautiful places because Indonesia from the very west until the very east is just like from California to Florida. But 17,000 islands is the biggest archipelago in the world. In the low tide, in the high tide, if the water is getting higher and higher, only 8,000, 9,000 island gone. And Indonesia is homogeneous like this? No, Indonesia is extremely diverse, you see. Well known as the biggest Muslim population in the world, 85% and 90%. But the largest Chinese diaspora like me, 7th generation, Chinese Indonesia. I don't speak Chinese anymore. It's the biggest Chinese diaspora is in Indonesia. And biggest number of ethnic, more than 500 ethnics, largest archipelago. And Indonesia is not Islamic country. Indonesia recognized 6 religions, not only Islam. Islam, for sure. Catholic, I'm Catholic. Protestant, Buddhism, Hinduism, and Confucianism. Bali is a Hindu island, and Borobudur temple is the biggest Buddhist temple in the world. The other myth, Indonesia, extreme Muslim nation, because so many bad news in CNN and all other TV stations. But actually, he will be the next president. You see, Jokowi is on the right. He's a very humble person, the Obama of Indonesia. And Obama used to study in Indonesia, in Jakarta for 4 years. And Professor Philip Potter, I brought him to sit in the chair, the ex-chair of the Obama. And we follow the path of Obama now. Very humble, very nice person. It's not Ronald Reagan type. It's not George W. type. But this is the Obama type. The people's president. He will be officiated as the president of Indonesia on the 20th of October. And he is the first marketing-oriented president. And now he is the governor of Jakarta, and he will be replaced by a Chinese diaspora. His name is Ahok. Ahok, Chinese diaspora. Lifestyle is for the rich Indonesia? No. 7-Eleven from Japan is lifestyle for the best in Indonesia. Even people, the poorer people, need lifestyle, like affordable lifestyle. Women in Indonesia are desperate housewives because so many people think that Muslim women are always dominated by the male, by the men. But no, in Indonesia, based on our macros research, 87% of the woman is the chief financial officer of the family in Indonesia. Woman is so powerful in Indonesia. And 80% of them, they don't like polygamy. Indonesia is conservative? No. The largest Gangnam style flash mob is in Indonesia. And myth number 8, Indonesia is low-tech like this. Yes, we have Papua like this. Papua is Indonesia. But, you see, the 4th largest Facebook users in the world is Indonesians. And Jakarta is the capital city of Twitter. 55 million Twitter users. So, marketing in Indonesia is also high-tech marketing. Yeah? And this is the new reality. You see, technology is exploding in Indonesia. 1 million BTS now is being installed by PT Telkom Indonesia, yeah, by the help of multinational. And political legal, democratization, decentralization, diversification is going on and on and on, and we cannot turn back to become an authoritarian country. And you see, that is very important. If you do marketing in Indonesia, don't do vertical marketing, exclusive marketing, individual marketing by saying I'm number one, I'm the best, I'm the expert. No, Indonesian is very horizontal, inclusive, and social because of the internet. And maybe a little bit different from Japan. Young people is very, very powerful, women very powerful, and netizens. That's why our company is doing research on and on and on from 4 years ago until now, the power of youth women netizens. And this is Jokowi. We publish the magazine, just like Times published Obama special edition. We publish Jokowi edition in 17 different covers for collector's edition. This is the man for the future, and everybody like him because he is the president of 3.0, from product to customer to human-centered. He is very human-centered, very human, loved by the people, and he is supported by the young people, women, and netizens. And that's why Marketing 3.0, the museum is in Indonesia, and we continue to take what is beyond Marketing 3.0. This morning, Professor Kotter talking about self-actualization. Yes, if you treat customer as a fully human being, you must give the chance for the customer to do self-actualization. That's why one professor of Kellogg have this idea: aware attitude, act and act again. My son graduated from Kellogg 2001. My daughter now is the student of Kellogg, is AUST in Hong Kong, EMBA. So we are close to Kellogg. We like this model: aware attitude, act again. Awareness, positive attitude, act again. But now it's not easy to create positive attitude. You must appeal because so many choices. And then let the customer ask their friend, because customer now is surrounded by the friend. In Indonesia, customer is surrounded by the friend, not only in the developed market, but in emerging market like Indonesia, because Twitter is so powerful and Facebook is so powerful. And now, advocacy is very important. If you have so many advocates, you will spend less money to create positive attitude, and less money also in order to ask the people to buy from you. Advocacy is the new formula for loyalty. And then we have purchase action ratio and brand advocacy ratio. We have PAR. I don't want to go into that because it will be the international version book will be published next year, but we have how many people act, purchase, and divided by how many people aware, call it PAR, purchase action ratio, act divided by aware. So you can measure your productivity actually. And if you know the PAR, means that For example, PAR is 0.5. If you increase the brand awareness with 1%, so your market share is predicted will be increased by 0.5%. Very important measure. And brand advocacy ratio is how many people your advocate divided by how many people are aware. So we have also 4 ratio. And this is the 4 formats. The 4 formats of the 5 people, the 5 step. Goldfish, doorknob, trumpet, and funnel. It depends on the industry. We did a lot of research. And this is the ideal customer both time. 100 people aware, 100 people will be your advocate, 100 people appeal with your product, 100 people will act or purchase. But it is not that easy to achieve this shape. And we will have a new model to fix the gap. So if you have low ratio in attraction, so you must do brand positioning and differentiated marketing obligation. If you have a low ratio in curiosity, community marketing, social media marketing, low commitment ratio, channel management, sales force management, and low ratio in affinity, main service blueprint, and customer care and loyalty program. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Hermawan. Thank you very much for demystification of Indonesia. I learned a lot of things about your country, and also thank you for introducing your new book with Phil Kotler. So we have about 15 minutes for a panel discussion, and the first question I'd like to ask the gentleman is that obviously